Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. General Hospital sees Ava Jerome, Mora West, reveling in her newfound wealth thanks to blackmail. Dirty, dirty blackmail. She was broke, her finances were a wreck, and now she's living large. But we all know Ava's days of blackmailing Alexis Davis, Nancy Lee Grahn, will come to an end. And it looks like much sooner rather than later. We're going to talk about how Ava's awful blackmail scheme ends. I have no doubt she is going to lose her leverage, and her cash flow is going to end abruptly. Those money problems may come, crashing back down around her ears. So, right now, both Rick Lansing, Rick Hurst, and Ava are being quite greedy, cashing in on the blackmail from Alexis. Thanks to Christina Corinthos Davis, Kate Mancy's brake line cutting murder plot, Ava went from financial crisis to a steady flow of cash that Alexis is embezzling from the Cassadine estate. Ava thinks she's golden. She thinks this is going to just be this endless stream of money, but it looks like her days of blackmailing Alexis are nearly over. I mean, let's be real, she couldn't get away with it forever. So, we have a few ideas based on recent episodes on how this blackmail scheme of hers is going to blow up in her face very soon. So, obviously, the first way that Ava may lose her leverage over Alexis could be thanks to our favorite master hacker, Damian Spinelli, Bradford Anderson. Alexis met with the Jackal this week because she hired him as her private investigator. Of course, he's thrilled and will do anything to help Alexis because she's Sam McCall's, Kelly Monaco, mom. Spinelli and Sam were besties, did their PI thing together, and Alexis told Spinelli what she wants him to do could save Christina. Then we saw Alexis ask Spinelli to find Rick's SUV that was totaled in the crash, and Spinelli didn't think that will be hard, but he's wondering why Alexis is even asking about this. Alexis would rather not say, but he went ahead. Spinelli started searching, and it didn't take him very long at all to sort it out. Rick's car was supposedly destroyed, but Alexis knew that wasn't true, and she told Spinelli, "Keep digging." So, he went into the police impound things, and Alexis asked him, go see if there's a tow truck that might have come to the lot. And sure enough, he found 3 tow trucks that left, and only one went somewhere strange. That was to a storage facility, and Ava had rented a unit there. So, yeah, they hit pay dirt. So, now that Alexis knows where the SUV is, she's likely going to try to have it destroyed because Christina's fingerprints are all over it on the brake lines specifically. Now, I'm not certain if Alexis will ask Spinelli to take care of destroying it, but Jason Morgan, Steve Burton, is someone that Alexis could ask, because Jason is great at making all kinds of things disappear, including people, And of course, Jason wouldn't hesitate to help Alexis and Christina. And of course, Jason's all about protecting Sonny Corinthos's, Maurice Bernard, family members, and he doesn't like Ava at all. But would having Rick's SUV smashed to smithereens and the pieces burned to eliminate Christina's fingerprints solve the whole blackmail problem? Maybe, but maybe not. Don't forget, there's still that footage Ava has of Christina rifling through the tool bin in the garage and then creeping around Rick's SUV. But from what we saw the video, it doesn't actually show Christina tampering with the brakes. But still, Alexis needs to get rid of that video. That would make sure there are no loose ends left to tie Rick's accident back to Christina, or even imply that she might have had a hand in it. So, that may be the next mission Alexis has for Spinelli to delete the footage from Ava's phone, from the building security system, and any cloud backups that Ava might have. So, Alexis may ask Spinelli to also hack Rick's phone in case Ava sent the video to him as a backup. And so far, Alexis hasn't told Spinelli the exact nature of the problem she's trying to fix. She is skirting around the touchy subject of how this will help Christina, but Spinelli's no fan of Ava's, and he would likely be cool with helping Alexis even if it crossed legal lines. And this kind of stuff is child's play for Spinelli. He could easily hack Ava and Rick's phones and the building security system and wipe out that footage. So, if there's no video and no physical evidence, that means no more blackmail, and Alexis could tell Rick and Ava to kick rocks. However, there's still one more option if that doesn't work out that could stop Ava from blackmailing Alexis and forcing her to steal from little Ace Cassidy's Jay and Joey Clay inheritance. Imagine if Christina actually accepted accountability and faced consequences for her actions when she tried to kill Ava. She could shut this down. There's a chance that Christina may come clean and turn herself in. Or better yet, do what Diane Miller, Carolyn Hennessy, suggested to Alexis, check herself into Shady Brook, and then have Diane work on a plea deal with the DA's office. Because very soon Lucky Spencer, Jonathan Jackson, is going to do some poking around because Elizabeth Weber, Rebecca Herbst, told him about the memory she recovered of the crash, and it contradicts what Rick said. Liz said during the crash, right. Before everything happened, Rick said the brakes weren't working. But when she told Rick about her memory, he said, no, it was black ice. And Lucky looked a little unsettled when he was hearing what Liz said. Because of course he knows Christina cut the brakes, and he may wonder why Rick isn't being honest with Liz. And of course Rick told Liz, just let it go. And of course he wants her to let it go because he's cashing in alongside with Ava in this blackmail scheme. Rick's got a new sports car which might send Lucky's spidey senses tingling just on the timing. And like Spinelli, Lucky may find out that Rick's car was taken to a storage facility. This week, Lucky gets in front of Alexis and he asks her why Rick is lying. Because Lucky knows what Christina did. And if he knows Rick is lying and Alexis lies to his face, Lucky may do the math and figure out what's going on. And if Alexis comes clean to Lucky and tells him Ava and Rick are blackmailing her because they know Christina cut the brake lines, well, Lucky may go, and he may tell Christina, you know what? This is why Alexis was trying to have you committed. She was trying to save your butt, trying to keep you out of prison. And then Christina might feel guilty, not only for her mom being blackmailed, but for how hard she's been on Alexis over those commitment papers that Molly Lansing Davis, Kristen Vaganos, brought to her. And that could be what triggers Christina to head to the psychiatric hospital, check in, get a little therapy, let Diane work with the DA and put an end to the blackmail and get her some sweetheart deal. The bottom line is Ava and Rick's free ride on the Cassadine cash train is about to come to an abrupt end. And I'm betting it might hit by the end of sweeps, which if you did not know is May 21st. So the big question is Christina going to take care of this? Or once again, is Alexis going to clean up her mess with Spinell's help? Maybe with Jason's help. Diane keeps telling her, Molly keeps telling her, Rick keeps telling her that Alexis cleaning up behind Christina isn't doing her any favors. And maybe Christina will see that and step up and do the right thing. We'll see. But it looks like it's all going to blow up next week. For months, Ava had been manipulating the shadows in Port Charles, leveraging a dangerous secret she'd uncovered about Sonny Corinthos's mental health. Thanks to a misfiled prescription and a wayward burner phone, Ava stumbled upon the fact that Sonny had quietly resumed taking medication for his bipolar disorder, without telling anyone, not even Nina. That, combined with some shrewd surveillance by one of her leftover Jerome family contacts, gave her a weapon. She hadn't planned to use it. Not at first. But when her co-parenting relationship with Sonny began to shift, when he started questioning her every move regarding Avery, and his usual generosity hardened into cold legal threats, Ava decided to strike first. If Sonny could play hardball, so could she. She warned him in private. Keep the custody arrangement as it is, or she'd make his secret public, spinning it in just the right way to make him seem unstable, unfit, and dangerous. Sonny hadn't flinched at first, but Ava had seen the glint in his eyes, recognition that she wasn't bluffing. For a time, things settled into an uneasy stalemate. Ava maintained her leverage. Sonny kept his distance. Nina remained blissfully unaware, and Avery stayed with her mother as often as before. Ava thought she had won. But Port Charles is never kind to those who celebrate too early. Enter Carly Spencer. Carly, ever the lioness protecting her pride, had sensed something was off with Sonny. He was erratic, distracted, and not in the way his disorder might suggest, but in the way someone under pressure behaves. After a tense conversation with Nina led her to believe Ava was involved, Carly did what she did best. She started digging. Carly enlisted Brick to trace Ava's digital footprint. Within days, he recovered partial files of encrypted audio from the Jerome Gallery's office server, recordings of Ava's conversation with the man who had discovered Sonny's pharmacy records. That was all Carly needed. She took the information straight to Sonny, and together they confronted Ava at the Metro court. The confrontation was blistering. "You think you can hold this over me?" Sonny growled, his voice low but brimming with rage. "You think I'd let you weaponize my health, my life, as a tool to keep our daughter?" Ava raised her chin defiantly. "I did what I had to do to protect Avery." Carly stepped forward, venom in her eyes. "Don't give us that self-righteous garbage, Ava. You don't care about Avery's best interests. You care about control, about winning, but you just lost." Ava's cool mask cracked for just a second. "You don't have proof." "Oh, but I do," Carly said, tossing a USB drive onto the table. "Brick recovered your little gallery recordings, and I'm sure the court would be very interested in hearing how you've been blackmailing Avery's father." Ava reached for the drive, but Sonny snatched it first. "We're done here," he said, turning his back to her. "No," Ava snapped, desperation bleeding through her tone. "You're not going to throw this all away over pride. Sonny, if you go public, people will question you. The courts, your enemies. I'll take the hit," Sonny said flatly. "But I'll do it on my terms, not yours." That was the beginning of the end. Within days, Sonny held a press conference, carefully and gracefully revealing that he had quietly resumed treatment for his bipolar disorder. He framed it as part of his commitment to maintaining his stability, for the sake of his family, especially his children. The move garnered sympathy, not suspicion. In a rare stroke of strategy, he also publicly thanked his ex-wife Carly for helping him stay accountable. And as for Ava? The blackmail scheme exploded in her face. Once word got out, thanks to a carefully leaked anonymous tip, courtesy of Brick again, the court called an emergency hearing to re-examine the custody agreement. Ava was formally accused of attempting to use private medical information as blackmail in a family dispute. Her parenting was called into question, not because of her love for Avery, but for the methods she employed to retain control. Diane Miller, Sonny's attorney, eviscerated Ava in court. "You speak of maternal instincts," Diane said sharply, "yet your actions show a clear pattern of manipulation, coercion, and emotional warfare. This wasn't about Avery's welfare. It was about punishing a man you could never quite control." The judge wasn't impressed with Ava's defense. Though she wasn't stripped of custody entirely, the arrangement was changed. Sonny was granted primary custody, with Ava relegated to supervised visits until further review. It was a humiliating blow. Ava returned to the gallery that night, alone. The space felt cold, empty, a far cry from the bastion of power it had once been. For the first time in years, she felt vulnerable, exposed. But Ava Jerome wasn't one to stay down for long. She poured herself a glass of scotch and looked out over the Port Charles skyline, her eyes burning with the simmer of wounded pride. "You took this round, Sonny," she murmured, "but the war isn't over. Because if there was one thing Ava knew how to do, it was reinvent herself and strike back harder." Little did Sonny know, in her desperation, Ava had uncovered something else. Something buried in a forgotten corner of a shared past with Nicholas. Cassadine. a secret far darker than medication and far more dangerous than she'd ever let on. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe our GH News 24 YouTube channel for more update news.